Welcome to 108 Gate. We're doing the Divine Masculine reading. Hope you are well. There is a calm. Again, it's bringing self to center, bringing self to calm from essence of storms lingering. So there could be chaos, but bringing self to center. Communication, how you communicate with yourself to bring yourself back to that center. How do you communicate to yourself to bring yourself back to that ease and serenity? I keep hearing serenity. So there is a level of acceptance here. What are you needing to just accept for what it is? Who are you needing to accept for who they are? Is it possible? Who needs to accept you for who you are? Gratitude. Let's get another one before we start diving into this. Adaptation. Right. So there's a certain level of acceptance that's required on one side or another. So this does feel like there's an external influence. And as we communicate to ourselves with a level of acceptance, with a level of ease, the likelihood of someone else coming in and accepting us too is increased, because when we're communicating to ourselves in a particular tone, with a particular voice, with particular words, we can start using those with others too. And as they hear this more so, it's easier for them to kind of take that on. And it's like modelling a behaviour, modelling a way of speaking, modelling a way of approaching things. So utilising this function, utilising this technique to first be in alignment with yourself. If others hear this, others feel this, that's a bonus. So the gratitude for acknowledging this, the gratitude for accepting this, the gratitude for receiving this is where the key is for it to radiate. Because to get to this point, you may have had to go through a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, a lot of insecurity, whatever it is that wasn't being accepted. So it hasn't come easily to come to this point of gratitude, and it has required a level of adaptation. Where have you adapted to feel the gratitude, and now how are you communicating it? So communicating the gratitude for deeper and further adaptation. Therefore, we don't quite know where we're going to, we don't quite know where we're stepping into, and the point of this fall, right, interesting. So with this fall, the things I'm drawn to are these things here and here. There are things lurking around by the Fool. The Fool isn't necessarily paying attention to it. The dog seems to be, though. The dog seems to be, the little dog here. The dog seems to be paying attention to it. The dog seems to be aware of it. They look like, I don't know if they're bats, but they look like bats. They look like certain things that are gnashing, or could be gnashing at the Fool. Not noticed them before the way I'm noticing them now. So those things that as you're stepping along this path of communicating with gratitude and adapting further for your higher good, increasing your net worth, increasing your emotional well-being, increasing things that are beneficial for self, there's all the other things going to be coming to gnash and like nip at your heels, nip at your ankles kind of thing. Is to not get sidetracked by that, and to remember this pole, this column of energy here that really wants to hold steady, wants to hold firm, because like I said in yesterday's readings, if you haven't checked them out, you may want to check them out. Yesterday's readings, that there's going to be these influences that are trying to knock you off your centre, that are trying to knock you away from, well, they're not even trying to, they might just be, just because of the way they are, just because of the way they function, they may be susceptible to knocking you off your centre, and you may have allowed that to happen in the past because you weren't so aware of it. So now it's a matter of going through those tugging moments, going through those difficult moments, and just holding steady, so that those things that usually knock you off your stool, knock you off your centre, can just kind of Feel where it's tugging you, hold steady, don't give in, and keep going. So we've got 7 of Wands. Don't give in. Adapting is not the same as giving in. Something comes in and disrupts you. Adapting to that disruption so that you stay steady, you stay on point for yourself, is not the same as giving in. So adapting is really important, and that attitude of gratitude to be able to adapt is really important. It's really incorporating a part of the acceptance of what is, acceptance of this is where things are. I want to get to there, let go of frustration, let go of disappointment and stuff, and then right from this point forward, how do I move forward? How do I move forward like the Fool, into the unknown, into the uncertainty, but being comfortable with the uncertainty, being comfortable with the unknown, because a lot of this conflict that comes up, that is known, that is like, it's almost like a comfort zone, because we know what to expect. We know if we do a certain thing, a certain person or certain situation is going to respond in a particular way, and that familiarity can create a false sense of security, or a comfort zone where we just like kind of stay there complacent. Is coming out of that and making sure that you're doing those subtle changes, those subtle standing up for yourself, subtle things to make sure that you stay on form, on point for yourself. Do the shifts from there. You're getting pulled, tugged this way, that way. Stay firm and see what then it can just break off, break off, break off. Rising like a phoenix, rising out the fire from the turmoil, the disruption that's usually caused, and then from there you may be judged. That judgment is coming in. You may be judged by a particular force in a particular way. They may use words which hurt, or like you're expecting a particular kind of response because that's a normal way of being. So it's not exactly the most supportive attitude. For when you're sticking up for yourself, it comes back as you're so selfish, you're so this, you're so that, you're so self-centered, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But the thing is, you know it's not that truth. You know in yourself it's not that truth, because it's happened for so long, and now you're seeing the actual truth of it. It may be that they're actually coming from a very selfish space, a very controlling space, and because they're not getting that control, they're not having that control over you anymore, it can be bringing up some kind of judgment from the conflicting source. But also there's a second judgment, a bigger judgment coming in of finally you're sticking up for yourself, finally you're doing what and saying what you should have done previously. Is happening now. So that's where the win-win can be coming in. Because if you don't give in to someone who's a bully, essentially, or controlling, or demanding of certain things, then they have to stop and look at themselves, or they just find a new target. It's not the ideal for them to find a new target, but hopefully they'll stop and look at their behaviour. Most of the time they don't. They just keep going. There you go. The Fool, Lovers, where you in. I was going to do a masculine feminine reading combined today, but I thought I'll do separate. But this is why I was going to do it, because there are certain things that are coming together in harmony. As you stay still, you understand that there's certain arguments, there's certain conflict, 7 of Wands, there's certain things you get dragged into, and you just kind of, you just do it because you've been on some level loyal, but on some level it's easier. And then on some level, because you haven't known any different. So that's why the Fool is coming in with the Lovers. Like, do something differently. Actually bring some more harmony in for yourself. Bring some more peace in for yourself. Again, this may be happening directly, or it may be memories coming up. It may be scenarios coming up. It may be that you're going into a new space expecting a fresh start, and certain things are resembling something that happened in the past. So instead of actually going into it with the expectation of something repeating itself, go steady and start changing it, adapting now while you can. Sunshine. So the conflict Don't let the conflict get you down. Just keep looking at it as an opportunity to understand where the tugs and pulls still are. Understand where the change and adaptation needs to occur. Looking at it as an opportunity to shift, change and grow. Coming out of the Ten of Swords, there may be, it's the emotional it's the emotional I'm going to say disappointment again, because you wanted to, you've possibly, not saying you have, set yourself up in your mind that somebody's going to change, or you've told yourself that they're doing this because of A, B and C, they'll shift and change, or not wanting to be unkind or use unkind words to others. But the thing is, that's not the reality of who he is. That's not the reality of the situation. That's not the reality of what you're going to do for yourself. So as the reality of it is coming in, not only are you having to face some of the hurt you've gone through, but you're also facing more hurt now because of the truth that's coming up, and what's being revealed in the truth of people, what's been revealed in the truth of the process is just as difficult on some level, if not more, than what you've had to just go through. Because on some level, what you've been through, there's been some numbing along the process. There's been some ignoring of the process, ignoring of the truth of the process, ignoring the truth of who, what, why, and all that stuff. So now this is going to feel quite painful, but it's not, because you're doing it from a safe space. You've got the sun shining on you while you're doing it, because you are coming from a different space. You're coming from the gratitude of having this opportunity to clean this up and then going into a new space. So the Judgment, where have you tied yourself up? Exactly that. So where, because of not being able to face the truth of certain things, because of not being in a position, or it wasn't the correct time to face the truth of certain things, certain people, situations, you've been locked up in that. So now you can entangle yourself. You can allow yourself to be disentangled. You can allow yourself to be free from that. And then it says, now start looking. Now it's really, well, that was really very strong message. So what do you want to see? Start looking at those opportunities that you weren't able to see before. As you're unloading all this, you're unlocking yourself from it, you're lifting it, sifting it, shifting it. You are able to see this opportunity, this cup here that has been offered to you for so long, the divine love, the love for yourself, the respect for yourself, the bigger picture, not just these aggravating nitbits, kind of just nipping at you, gnawing you down, aggravating you, frustrating you. All of these things just to be cleared, to let go of it. So you, like the Fool, not focusing on these, just going on, and just kind of trying to bring you down. The Fool doesn't care. The Fool is like, I'm going and I'm doing what I've got to do happily with my banjo. You lot do it. I'm going to my tune. I'm skipping to my tune. I'm dancing to my tune. I'm walking to my tune. In my shoes. Right, okay. Definitely walking away from certain things, working your way away from certain things, looking to the moon in this case, but also therefore the sun. Looking to the moon and the sun, emotional well-being, illuminating where your emotions can be healthier, and going to that space, allowing yourself to be in that space as you're disentangling from this mess here, and also allowing the truth of this to be revealed, accept it for what it is, and then moving on. Accepting it for what it was and moving on. Accepting them for who they are. Accepting yourself for who you were. And understanding things can change, things can progress. When you get locked in other people's things of like, things is always going to be like this, they're always going to be like that. Well, they may always be like that. Doesn't mean you have to always be that way. Right, we're going to get one more over here, I think, with the Cosmic Mirror. What should you be looking towards? What can you be looking towards? Let's stay with that line of thinking. Stacking your cups. What have you got from this? What have you come out salvaging? What have you salvaged from understanding this part? Unlocking yourself from here accepting who it was, accepting them for what they were, accepting the situations for what they were, accepting yourself for who you were, accepting yourself for where you're at now. What can you salvage from that? And then walking towards it, moving towards it. All these nitty gritty things are just like not bothering you anymore. They can't hold you back, can't hold you down. And if they try, they're not going to like what they see. As you get stronger, because of just flowing that love, flowing that healing love, the love is going to, I was going to say increase. The love is going to cleanse, purify, and increase your ability to flow with greater ease. It's like oiling something or lubricating something. It's easier to move because you've got less obstruction, you've got less holding you back, because the more love you put into this, loving it and accepting it, heal, cleanse, purify, unattach, disentangle, and moving along. Moving along. Don't be surprised if you pull back. That's the whole point of keeping your centre really, really strong right now, because it is going to tug, it is going to pull back, it is going to pull you back or attempt to pull you back. It's going to attempt to get you sucked back into that cycle. Keep strong, keep moving forward, keep focused forward, and remember to let yourself go of these things, except for what they are. And if anything, this thinks it's doing itself a favour, or it thinks it's doing itself something beneficial, but just watching it, observing it, and accepting it for where it's at, for what it's at, is going to help you understand and kind of process these things easier. So utilise everything, and that again is going in and perpetuating the gratitude for the situation instead of begrudging it or being angry or annoyed or frustrated. It's like just observe it. Again, it may lead to some heartache, it may lead to some disappointment, it may lead to some disappointment of what you've allowed to happen for so long, but you can change that right now. So I hope that helped in some way. On some level I don't want it to resonate, but if it does resonate, utilise what's coming up for your benefit. So I'm going to do the Divine Feminine reading now. So until then, peace and love.